So this is your first time recording a song in a professional studio, and you want to make your first move your best move. You want your first experience in there to be a great experience, because let me tell you, your first time in a studio, whether it's a professional studio or a home studio, it can be an amazing, life-changing experience, or it can be a stressful one, depending on who you're in there with, depending on who your engineer is, depending on what the creative vibe is, depending on if you're wanting to try to create something in the moment. Are you prepared in order to get in there? One of the things about recording finally for the first time, no matter how many songs you've written, no matter how many times you hit that note in the shower, once you get in that studio, oh yeah, you naked. You naked, and whatever insecurities that you have about your performance, whether you knew it or not before then, oh yeah, it's right there in your face now. And depending on who you have in that studio to encourage you to get your best performance can make all of the difference. So the advice that I'm about to give now is for people. It could be your first time coming up to be in the studio, or maybe you've been in there before, but you probably didn't have the right people in there, or maybe you did have the right people. You just don't know what to do to get the biggest bang for your buck. Because I'm imagining if you're just now getting in the studio, you don't have no budget behind you. So the advice that I'm going to give you is going to give you insight on how to get the biggest bang for your buck and save a little money. Why can I give you this information? What gives me the right to give you this information? I've recorded and published literally hundreds of songs. I've been on the music billboard charts. I've still get hundreds and thousands of streams of the music that I produce to this day. Altogether combined millions of streams on multiple platforms. I've been to the point, I've recorded in a house studio, recorded in the closet. I've had terrible quality. I've had mediocre quality. I've had decent quality, and I had great quality. Because trust me, no matter what style of music you're doing, the sound has to be good. I don't care what opinions people have on what you're saying or how you're saying it. The sound has to be good. So here we go. My thing is, if you're going to a studio for the first time, make sure you have a hard drive with you. And it doesn't have to be a huge hard drive, but probably the best type of hard drive you can have is one of those hard drives that don't have a spinning disc in there, like one of those static hard drives to where if it's bumped, it's not going to cause any trouble. Have a hard drive in there with you, because you're going to want to save your session afterwards. Why do you want to save that session? Hey, you might want to go back and touch on that session. You might find somebody that can mix what you recorded. You might find somebody else that can master what you recorded. And a lot of times you want to have that session saved for future reference and future purposes. So first tip, get you a hard drive. Doesn't have to be a huge hard drive, but just make sure it's quality. I would say at least 100 gigs. A lot, you can do a lot less. The sessions aren't that big, but 100 gigs. When you go in there and record and I'm assuming you're in a professional studio, so I'm assuming you got a good mic. I'm assuming that the sound is good. I'm assuming that you are in an enclosed area to where it's not picking up a lot of background noise. I think that if you're doing music that has profanity in it, I think if you're trying to save money, right after you do your regular version, go ahead and get the radio edit knocked out, the family friendly version knocked out. If you want to change your F words to what's, if you want to change your N words to ninjas, whatever you want to do, I recommend you go ahead and do that then. I also recommend you go ahead and see what else. So you have the hard drive. You're knocking out your radio friendly versions. Now, if you're in a studio where you're dealing with an engineer that also mixes and masters, If you're going to go ahead and get everything mixed down, then once again, go ahead and get the regular version mixed down. Go ahead and get the radio version mixed down. Go ahead and also get your vocals tracked out by themselves, bounced down by themselves. Why do you just want your vocals? Hey, maybe somebody might want to use your vocals for something in the future. Maybe somebody might want to take your vocals and put them on top of another beat that's probably a little more popular, a little more happening, or a little more proprietary than the beat that you got. Maybe you recorded on a beat that you found on YouTube that is no way possible that you're going to own. So maybe that beat was what inspired you to create those lyrics and that melody. But who knows, you can probably take those lyrics and that melody of whatever your hook is, whatever your chorus is, whatever your bridge is, whatever your verses are. You may be able to take that in the future and go ahead and put it on a beat that you actually own, a beat that you actually bought, a beat that you can actually monetize. But if you never got that session, if you never saved that session, if you never got those vocals bounced down, how are you going to do that? You just missed that opportunity. But if you go ahead and get it taken care of, then you got the engineer in his seat. If the engineer is good and they know what they're doing, let them know up front what you're trying to do. And they're going to make sure that you get enough time for them to accomplish that goal. If it takes 2 hours, if it takes 4 hours, if it takes 6 hours. One thing that I recommend, especially if you're creating music for the first time, go ahead and get everything done on that first section, but also set the expectation that you're going to be back in the future. Because what's going to happen is you're going to take that music home. You're going to be listening to it on your headphones. You're going to be listening to it in your car. You're going to be listening to it in your house. And you're going to be listening to parts where you wish you said the instead of the. You're going to be listening to parts where you wish you said I instead of a. Right? But guess what? If you already set the expectation and you already know, you can be making those notes throughout the week. And then when you're going down there, you can tighten it up. Because, hey, it depends on how you do it. Some people, once they record it the first time, they over it. They on to the next one. They don't care about making any changes. But even Lil Wayne, Lil Tucci says what he does whenever he's recording music is once he gets out that studio, he's taking it straight to his car. He's listening to it all day, listening for slight changes he can make to make his delivery, his performance a little more better. So you got your hard drive. You're saving your sessions. You're getting the radio edited version made the same time you're getting the regular version mixed down and mastered. You're bouncing down your vocals too, solo by themselves for future purposes. Now you heard me say mixed and mastered. Some people say you shouldn't have your song mastered by the same person who's doing the mixing just to get a different ear. Some people are just so talented, they can mix and master, and it'll be just as good, if not better, if you took it to somebody else to get it mastered. And what's mastering? Mastering is making sure your song sounds big in big systems. Sometimes you can listen to an unmastered song in your headphones and in your car, and it sounds perfect. And then they try to play it in a stadium. It's like all the energy is sucked out of the room because you didn't get it mastered properly. It's not loud enough. You didn't put emphasis on the right sounds to make it go off, to give it that full body that it needs. So your song should be recorded with a quality mic in a quality area, or maybe you have a chaotic eyeball and that gets rid of a lot of the additional sound. A quality mic, a quality area. Your song needs to be mixed properly. Your song needs to be mastered properly. You need to have the studio session saved. You need to have your vocals bounced down. You need to do your radio edit the same time that you do the regular song. And you have everything should you need to take it to another person. And listen, you ever heard of somebody when they go to a doctor and the doctor gives them some information, they say go get a second opinion? Guess what? Because you saved that session, you can take them same vocals, that same session to another engineer and see how their mix sounds. Then take it to somebody else and see how their mix sounds. And you'll be surprised the different energy, the different feeling that you get depending on who's mixing and mastering your song. But guess what? If you had never saved that session on your own hard drive, you would have never had that option. Somebody might be listening to your song and like, oh man, you right, man. That's the what's the name beat? Hey, I make beats too, man. Hey man, if you don't mind, man, I make raw beats. If you don't mind, if you got your vocals, I'll make a song for you. Or maybe they might not. Maybe if they're a new producer, they might not even be up to speed like that. To where they're on the other side of the world, they love to work with you. You say, hey, eventually we're gonna get together and do something original. But hey, here's some vocals that I've done over the time. See what you can do with these. And this nigga mess around and drop a classic for you. Producers be looking for vocals, and you just gave them some fresh, raw vocals, quality, premium. The way producers be looking for vocals is the way you be looking for beats. So that's my insight on what you should do if you're going to a professional studio for the first time, even if you've been going, but you've been looking for some guidance. You've been listening to the Entreprenudist podcast, a place to hear real entrepreneurs and business owners bear it all. My name is Randolph Love III. I help business owners and homeowners avoid financial catastrophe and have the option of retiring in 10 to 15 years or less. This is the Entreprenudist podcast.